You're insane!
Hello, listeners, and welcome to the Madhouse, episode 22. I'm your host, Ultimus523, and this week I have...
Brennan, or bigdinoguy.
Today is the 22nd, which is kind of cool because it's episode 22, and it's 22nd. I don't even know how great that is. That's such a palindrome, I guess.
Sounds like a winky-dinky.
A winky-dinky, okay, yeah. Doctor Who is my favorite show. It's by far my favorite sci-fi show, aside from Star Wars. Star Wars isn't a show, but at least the Clone Wars is. Favorite sci-fi show is Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do I want to talk about for that?
Well, one, I must say, I unfortunately cannot see anything beyond what they had on Netflix until they took it down.
Yeah, the thing is with Netflix is they can't seem to keep a deal with the certain shows. It's like
BBC.
Yeah, it's like usually original Netflix was in their deal and then they stopped and then they come back. It's like, make your mind up already.
Well, the interesting thing is Torchwood is Supernatural.
Yeah.
And quite a few other BBC shows are still on. BBC is a company that makes Doctor Who.
Yep.
But yet, that's not on. I mean, hell, Torchwood is a spin-off of Doctor Who. It stars Captain Jack Harkness, so why isn't it on there?
I never got into Torchwood. Actually, back when I was living at my old place, I briefly saw an episode, like a 10-second clip from Torchwood, and the moment I saw the monster, I'm like, ooh, what is that? Like, oh gosh. It's like, that's creepy. It was just...
What's it look like?
It was just it looked kind of like the Silence in a way, but much more creepier, and it had blood on his face. It was really dark.
It looks like what?
It looked like kind of like the Silence that had blood on its face. It was really weird. But it freaked me out. I'm like, okay, that's not the universe I want to be a part of. But
it's part of Doctor Who.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, the one character I want back on Doctor Who is Jack Harkness, because he would be awesome with 12. That would be the best part of Doctor Who. Now, unfortunately, this is going to be the only Doctor Who themed podcast because no one else in the regular schedule, no one else in the podcast really knows anything about Doctor Who. So this is just what you get. But I mean, this new series with 12th Doctor, and the shame about it is that we have to wait an entire year for a new season or series of Doctor Who. We get the traditional Christmas special, but we had to wait an entire year for it.
It's similar with Sherlock, another BBC show.
They're filming series 4 now. It took like 2 years to finally get on the air, or to film it.
Yeah, I remember seeing December of last year. They had some set photos of Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman, I believe his name.
Yeah.
I forget the guy's name. He's one of my favorite actors.
Yeah, he plays Bilbo in the Hobbit movies.
And they were dressed up in old Victorian England get-ups as Holmes
and Sherlock and Watson.
So
yeah, because
it's been a long time.
I know you're talking about the Christmas. I never saw it. There was a Christmas special called The Abominable Bride, and it was the first Sherlock special with the original cast, and it also had the most historical version of them, the original cast, because Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman. Because Martin Freeman actually has an actual mustache. Because in series 3 he has a mustache, but he doesn't have it for very long.
No, have you seen the show?
I've seen. I mean, I haven't really watched much of it, but I've seen up to series 3. I actually watched all of series 3, but I don't remember much of it, so I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. The most recent episode I saw that I had to watch again was
You've seen it before, right?
Yeah, I've seen it before. I mean, I don't remember much. The thing is, I don't remember much of series 3 because I just went through it too fast. So I didn't really. The thing is with TV shows, if I go through it too fast, I don't really get it much of it. I don't know what's going on in the show. If I Doctor Who, I'm like, okay, go for that fast. I'm like, whoa. And then I'm like, okay, what happened? And people ask me, like, okay, what happened in episode 5? Like, that's called the so-and-so. I'm like, I have no idea. That's the problem. I watch a show or a TV or a movie, and I remember it. So.
Yeah, that's kind of the blessing and the curse with being a moviegoer or a nerd in general.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they take longer, and a lot of people take shorter times.
Oh, yeah.
I remember from video a lot of stuff. Far from all, but a great deal of stuff, I must say. I mean, I remember trailers from like 5 years ago, movies I've never seen before. That I could be like, oh, can I see that? Oh, I remember that trailer. This character did this. And, and then if I'm watching the movie again, I'm like, that character's going to be alive until now, because it instances in the trailer. So, it's a blessing and a curse with being a moviegoer.
Now, the one thing that I really did not like, I mean, I love the TARDIS. The show's been around since 1953, and the TARDIS has been through redesigns, but the one thing I didn't like about the 50th anniversary special was when they brought back the original TARDIS from the David Tennant years, and it just didn't look, I mean, it was the same TARDIS interior, but they didn't make it look like it was back then. I mean, they had the same idea, the console, the weird little things that hang up the walls, and the walls are the same, the doors are the same, but, this is going to sound weird, but I love the little ramp that you go up in the original TARDIS, the 9th and 10th Doctor ramp. I don't know what...
The ramp from the door up?
I don't know why I'm obsessed with that thing.
I like that ramp, too.
It's really cool.
It's really fun.
They just made it look they didn't get it, because in the original, in the David Tennant years, in Series 1, of course, they made it look like you had to, like, run up it. And it was, like, all, like, slanted, so you have to make effort to actually walk up it. But in the 50th anniversary, I noticed that they didn't even do that. You just like, I think Clara, like, just walking through it. It feels like it's just a path. It doesn't feel like an actual ramp. I didn't like that. I mean, I've seen lots of TARDISes. I like the designs they've done for the past TARDISes. I mean, the TARDIS has changed throughout the years, but I mean, there's one TARDIS that I love. It's the David Tennant TARDIS, because I don't know, it's just awesome. The design was great. It took about 3 weeks to actually construct. But that being said,
that TARDIS is actually originally it wasn't his. It was Christopher Eccleston's TARDIS.
Yeah, I know. Then because the regeneration scene, they kept the same TARDIS. Of course, with the regeneration scene for David Tennant and Matt Smith, there was a new era of the Doctor Who universe, so they changed the TARDIS. They blew the TARDIS up and made a new one.
Yeah, I gotta say, favorite Doctor is definitely 9. I haven't seen much of the stuff before 9. Unfortunately, I really want to, but I don't have access to them.
Yeah. Well, let me...
So, from 9 on, 9 through 12, number 9 is most certainly my favorite. That's the one I started
That's the thing with the old series. Because, you know that in the late 60s, the BBC suddenly started to trash out the old episodes, and that's why a lot of them are missing, because they would record over the episodes, and so you couldn't even watch them anymore, and that's why a lot of them are missing. And I mean, some of them are really hard to find. I mean, if they you see news reports of them finding them, that's awesome, but you can't even find them anymore because the BBC decided to throw them away. Big mistake there, but I mean, that's why you can't see any of those episodes. I mean, if they do recover them, it's like a miracle, because they're really old. I did the ones that character, the Doctor I liked from the old series before the black and white was the second Doctor, Patrick Troughton. He's actually not my favorite, but I did like his character because he was the first Doctor to actually have a sonic screwdriver. And
what?
A sonic screwdriver.
I thought the first one did too.
No, he didn't have a sonic screwdriver. He had like a cane because he was old and everything. But the second Doctor had a sonic screwdriver. Well, he didn't use it very much, but like it was first used in the War Games, which is Patrick Troughton's last serial, and that was the only serial where he didn't actually regenerate by dying, because usually the Doctor die when the Doctor's regenerating. I mean, he's dying, but in this case, he didn't die. The time was forced to change, and so that's why. Plus, it was the next serial was the first one in color. But I mean, I like the Doctor, the character of the Doctor himself. I mean, obviously, my favorite Doctor is the 10th Doctor, just because the character that Tennant brought to the role was just amazing. Like, he had so much emotion and so much character. I mean, the lines were fantastic. He had a great catchphrase, especially a French catchphrase, based on a show filmed in Wales. Doctor Who was crazy, but the 10th Doctor just has so many ways of being. I mean, he is just a fantastic character.
Oh yeah. So basically, because I've seen a couple of the original stuff.
Yeah.
Not nearly enough to make a call. But the way that I've heard them described as is the original one is a child in an old man's body.
Yeah.
So, is an old man in the child's body. And it just reverses with the faces, really.
Yeah.
And what I like about number 12, what's the guy's name again?
Peter Capaldi?
Yeah, Peter Capaldi. He's been in the Doctor Who universe multiple times.
Yeah, he was in Series 4, The Fires at Pompeii. He played Cecilius or something like that. He was younger. He was far younger in that episode, but he was still the same actor. But I didn't like. I mean, the one thing I don't like about 12 is the costume he wore. I mean, I liked 12's costume in Series 8, but when it came to Series 9, I just didn't like it. Like, he suddenly he had the same crappy coat, but like he did the white shirt, and he had this weird. He just had a regular shirt, and he put a hoodie beneath it, like over it. It just looked.
The hoodie?
I didn't like that costume. It just looked kind of like rushed and like lazy, and they didn't really make it, because I liked the Series 8 the costume. That one, like the blue comic coat and the vest, that one's neat and everything. I like that, but the new one, I just don't like it. I mean, I do understand that in Face the Raven, he changed his costume again to the same kind of costume, but like it's apparently red instead, red comic coat. I didn't like that costume change. They didn't explain it. I mean, I like 12's character himself, but like the costume he had,
I didn't like the hoodie or the sonic glasses. I hated
the sonic glasses. That was my least favorite part of that costume, was the sonic specs. That was just ugh.
Yeah.
That was so bad.
But I like the character himself, especially, and I like that blue outfit with the scarf.
Yeah.
The blue jacket, I like that one. I really like that outfit, actually. Which sonic screwdriver did he use again? Was it 11?
It was 11, and then he gave it to Davros, apparently, and then he just started using specs. And then eventually he got a new one at the end of the series finale. He got a nice blue one, which actually looks really cool.
I haven't seen it yet.
But you should see it. The new song looks so awesome. It's all blue and everything.
If Netflix were to put Doctor Who back on, if they were to strike a deal, I can guarantee you they would make a lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
If there's one thing that I like about this new TARDIS is, I mean, it just looks. I mean, I like the old 11 TARDIS, but like, I mean, I understand the new change for Series 7 Part 2. It's the Christmas special.
Hang on. Did they get a brand new one, or is
yeah.
it the same?
Well, it's the same. It's
a brand new one.
So you saw the Christmas special, the Snowman, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same TARDIS except it's a red hue, and it has like little roundels on it under the TARDIS, the actual TARDIS interior. You see new roundels.
So all those symbols are around the top with the little spiral.
Yeah,
thing?
it's basically the same TARDIS interior except it has a red time looter. Like the hue is basically it's a different color scheme. It's the same TARDIS, it's just because of the new Doctor, they decided to put a new color scheme. But I like that TARDIS, but I like Tennant's TARDIS better, and I mean the old TARDIS is the White Room, those are cool, but because of the technology they had and what they had, because the problem what I have in the classic series is when you see the police box and they go in the door, you can actually see that it's just a prop. You don't, because in the show they're supposed to make it look like it's actually bigger on the inside from the box itself, but in the original show they didn't have that. They just made it look like it was dark inside, so because you go, oh, it's obviously dark, so you go in the big room. But no, they had that, and then they just made it look like it was just a prop, and you could see the windows on the inside of the box, and I'm watching those episodes of like the Third Doctor and everything. I'm like, wow, that looks so amazing. Like they're doing a really good job with making the effects look so great.
You know, the original show, they actually for a while they fixed the chameleon circuit.
Yeah, a couple episodes where the Sixth Doctor apparently I read that he had fixed it for like one stereo or something, and they were able to get it to look like a piano or something, or a organ, I think. I don't know.
But the thing was, audience hated it. They hated the idea of not the blue box. So that's why BBC was like, oh shit, we need to change it. So they changed it right back. So hey, it's broken again.
Yep. I mean that's the thing that with the technology they had, they did a really good job with it. The sets they had, they were really good, especially for that generation. But obviously since they revived it back in 2005, they had a lot more technology they could do. They had a lot more effects they can do, especially with the changes of like the monsters and everything. But the TARDIS itself, it changed drastically. I mean, what I liked about the TARDIS that changed is the fact that in the original show they went inside the TARDIS and then they have the doors they open and they're in the TARDIS. But when they go out of the TARDIS, it looks like so that basically the doors open in the classic show. They go out and it looks like the actual scenery. You just step out and you're out there. But apparently had another shot where they went out of there, and then another shot where they opened the door, where the TARDIS door opened from the box and they came out, and that it looks like they just all these like transdimensional stuff where they go through. But in the new show, they didn't have that. They just went through the door and they were in TARDIS. None of that weird crap. They just had to open the door, TARDIS. In the old show, they didn't have that. They're open the door, sequence, and then TARDIS. It just...
Yeah.
I mean, I don't hate the old show. They had what they did, and I like the Doctor, I like the casting. You know, they had some good companions, but... I mean, what do you expect for a 60s, 70s, 80s show? I mean, I like the old show. I do. I like the actors they got for the Doctor, but... I mean, it's more drama and more everything. They have it's a lot more dramatic, but I mean, for example, the Dalek blaster. All you see is a bright white light, and then the character is dead. And the new show, it's like a beam, and they have the skeleton, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna die. That's kind of what's back in this new technology. So you know.
One of the Doctor's daughters. Like actual daughters,
yeah.
I think it was the one that had the cane.
Yeah, Susan.
I might be wrong though.
Susan.
He was also in The Hobbit. I think that was.
Oh, you mean Sylvester McCoy, the Seventh Doctor?
Yeah. He had a daughter.
Yeah.
Who played the Doctor's daughter in the episode called The Doctor's Daughter was number 11.
Actually, that was 5. That was Peter Davis, and this thing has been going on forever. It's like, oh, the doctor married his own daughter, like that.
And yeah, that's actually when David Tennant met her, and later they're married, and they are pregnant with his daughter.
Yep.
They were pregnant, and I think they had the kid. And so they have the daughter. So the doctor had a daughter, and the doctor met the daughter.
Oh, yeah.
Together they had the doctor's daughter.
It's so confusing.
Growing up, that doctor was David Tennant's
favorite
doctor.
Yeah.
And I think she was actually on an episode of Farscape.
Huh.
Might be wrong, but I think she was.
But yeah, I mean, like, they've had. I mean, there's actually an episode of The Rings of Arcadian where the 11th Doctor, takes Clara to the Rings of Arcadian. There's a reference to the old show. Apparently, and he says, "Yeah, I came here with my granddaughter," and she's like, "Huh?" He's like, "That's really weird." I mean, look at 11. He's like the youngest Doctor. He's like the youngest. I mean, that's the youngest actor to play the Doctor. He's like, I came here with my daughter. He's like, what? I mean, that would be really weird. It's like, you got this Time Lord who looks like he is 30 or something, and he's like, I came here from a granddaughter. Like, how can you have a granddaughter? You're like 30 years old.
Everybody's got to have a hobby.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, there's a lot about the Doctor Who I like. I mean, the TARDIS has changed. I mean, obviously it changed like the Doctor, but more dramatically. More drastically. But what I don't like about the new TARDIS is the fact that the Time Motor just does not. I mean, in the show, the Time Motor goes up and down, but in the new show, it doesn't. I didn't like the Time Motor in the 11 TARDIS part 11.5 TARDIS. Because it's the second TARDIS he had, and 12 TARDIS because the TARDIS was a different color scheme. I didn't like the Time Motor. It didn't go up and down. I mean, the only time you actually see that is in like the dimensions. You actually see the Time Motor actually kind of go up and down a little bit, but it's not really that great. But that's the thing I like about the TARDIS Time Motor. It goes up and down. It looks so cool when it does that.
Alright, hey.
Yep.
Which one? So David Tennant, do you know why he left?
Yeah, he said when he declared he was going to announce he was leaving, he said he just wanted to try new things. He didn't want to stay in I mean, he loved the Doctor, but he didn't want to stay in the same role forever because he wanted to try something else. And
nope.
That was what he wanted. That's what he said.
The reason why it was either number 10 or 11. I'm pretty sure it was 10 though.
I think it was. Oh, if you're talking about
He left because he broke his back.
Oh.
So you know how they had the whole gap of 900 years to 1100 years with them?
I think so.
So the actor himself, he had an accident on set and he broke his back.
Wow.
However, during that time for months when he was in the hospital, they actually made an animated show.
Wow.
Comics that take place during this whole 200-year time period. I'm pretty sure that's why he actually left at the end of it. I might be wrong though, but
yeah.
He actually filmed all of those voiceovers for the character while he was in the hospital.
You mean the little short movies that he made, Dreamland and Infinity Quest?
What?
There was 2 short animated movies that David Tennant did while he was playing the Doctor. It was Dreamland and an Infinity Quest, or the Infinite Quest, I think. I don't know.
I don't know if they were in movies or not.
But he lended his voice to the Doctor.
I think not 11. It was number 10.
Huh.
It was 10th Doctor. Hang on. Matt Smith was
The 11th Doctor. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about David Tennant.
Oh, yeah.
10.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the one that broke his back and was in the hospital and doing all those. But yeah, he did all those, and I saw one of them where it takes place in like Area 51 and stuff like that. It's kind of decent, and it kind of makes you wonder: did he see the doctor's daughter later during that time in the show?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know when the episode take place or the little thing take place. But the stunt doctor himself, he's my favorite doctor because he has so much comedy, and he's somebody to fall in love with, and he's just amazing. Like, the character that David Tennant brings to the Doctor is amazing, especially since David Tennant wanted to be the Doctor in the first place, and he worked so hard to get there, and he was actually, and eventually with hard work he actually got there. But like, the Doctor is a really hard role to get, because I've actually heard of an audio drama where it was from Dark Horse Comics, I think, or something like that. I don't even know. But it was like a multi-Doctor story. It was an audio play, and it was like, I swore it was an American voicing the Doctor. It's like, no, you don't take an American and have him play the Doctor. That isn't how it works.
Well, I don't really. If an actor's got a knack for it, then I say go for it. So like John Barrowman.
Yeah.
Remember him?
Yeah.
So he originally was a stage actor. Have you ever seen The Producers?
I think I've seen one version of it.
So he actually did a voice thing for it, and the play that these characters are putting on in the movie called Springtime for Hitler.
Yeah.
This is the reboot, and he did the Springtime for Hitler and all that stuff.
Yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
But if you hear him, he's Scottish. Like, he's got a thick accent, and if you hear him talk, he sounds. I'm not saying this to be rude or anything, but he literally sounds like the whole, oh my god, kind of a gay, like a gay Scottish guy talking like that, and that's perfectly fine. I mean, he's got a husband and everything.
Wait, so he's gay?
He's American. He's American as well. So I mean, he can switch from accents to accents.
Oh, that's easy, yeah.
And he's got range on him. And if there can be any kind of a poster child, for lack of a better word, of an actor that can transfer from one ethnicity to another, and that sounds really weird, so that's the best way I can explain it, though. But if one person can transfer from one upbringing, if you will, like American to whatever, then John Barrowman is a poster child for that. So I honestly don't have that big of... I don't really mind all that much. If they do a good job, if they do a good Doctor, then I say go for it.
You're talking about having them bring back Jack Harkness?
That would be awesome.
That's what I really want them to do, because
Harkness in 12.
It's been forever. It's been years since they did him on the show, and I mean, I think he still has potential to be on them. I would love. I mean, we missed him interacting with 11, but him interacting with 12, that would be awesome. And especially since we've already had River's Song interact with 12. That was awesome. It was the latest Christmas special. It was 12 meets River, and that was so awesome.
I also think that if he was in that one, so Torchwood, I mentioned this before, I seriously say that you need to take a look at it. If you like Doctor Who, take a look at it. It definitely looks at violent stuff. It looks more at the whole nitty-gritty of the universe. It's a good show, but it's not for the faint of heart at all. I love it. I've seen it multiple times. I got my mother into it, and she's like one of those people that, like, if it's blood and guts and gore, then I don't like it. But she like that. But she really, I got her hooked. I turned her into a Whovian.
Oh yeah.
Yay. We are spreading.
Yep.
But that also explains where he went. Between the first and second times that he meets the Doctor. So, like, after he gets left behind and all that, Torchwood explains where he was and doing all that. And then after the whole crisis, like the whole spending of the universe and stuff like that, with the Master, the 1 year that never was, kind of a thing. And then him running back off and then saying, it was the face of both, they called me, and then he runs off.
That was awesome. Like, everyone's like, oh my gosh, because it's obvious that he is the face of Bo. I mean, what other sources do you have? He's the face of Bo.
And also, if I remember right, Martha and the Doctor, they didn't know it.
Yeah.
The actors didn't. And so he just read his lines, and that's where they're like, what?
Yeah.
I think that was genuine. I might be wrong, though.
That was me when I found out that the River was actually Amy and Rory's daughter. I'm like, oh my gosh, you serious? I mean, their reaction was like, what? It's like, no, that can't be true. But yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Doctor Who is one of those shows where it's got a lot of things that people don't like. Some things I don't like because it definitely delves into human nature.
Yeah.
Which is a good and a bad thing. If people want to look at themselves and be like, okay, analyze what this is.
I mean, the one thing that I like about Doctor Who is because in the original series, when they were, I think William Hartnell, who was, I think he wanted to leave the show or something, and they were like, how are we going to explain this change that suddenly we have a new actor to play the Doctor, and and then they made a plot to this device of when a Time Lord is injured or is near death, they can regenerate into a new body, and that was the plot device that kept Doctor Who running all these years. And you're like, well, so if the Doctor dies or he's injured, mortally wounded, he can regenerate into a new actor, so that they actually thought of the plot device to explain the change between actor to actor, so that if someone wanted to leave, they could be like, okay, well, you want to leave, so we'll have get an actor. So that's the way they film regeneration scenes. So that, and of course, when regeneration scene happens, you got to change clothes because that's how it is. You don't expect the actor to be in the same clothes he was as previous. I mean, that happens a lot where the actor will regenerate and then they'll get new clothes. I mean, I love the clothes change sequence, especially 10. I love that soundtrack that plays in it. It's like, that was awesome. Because, I mean, I love the TARDIS wardrobe itself. I mean, that's the one set piece that we don't even know. I mean, the 10th Doctor TARDIS is the only TARDIS that actually doesn't actually have any, besides the main doors, there's no other, like, actual location you can see. I mean, I think it was, The Unquiet Dead, when Nine tells Rose to go up to your left, take a right, or whatever, and then you'll be in the wardrobe. But he references it, but you don't ever actually see any other place besides the main doors, where
no.
Is.
There were a few other episodes where you see a lot of stuff.
I mean, the wardrobe that you see in Christmas Invasion, at the end of Christmas Invasion, it was so crazy awesome. I love that. I mean, there's a lot of references to previous Doctors, but that set design was awesome.
There was one episode with Amy and Rory in it.
Yeah.
Where they were stuck inside the TARDIS.
Oh yeah, that was. Are you talking about the Doctor's wife?
Oh no, it wasn't Amy and Rory. Or was it?
Well, if you're talking about the Doctor's wife, then that's actually my favorite episode of the 11th Doctor era because originally they had the original TARDIS set from the David Tennant era, and people who had it in the storage, they didn't tell the people who were making Doctor at the time that they had it in the storage, and they're like, we're gonna put this in a future episode. And the fact was that we're gonna make it a major thing in an episode where the TARDIS herself would
Oh,
allow Amy and Rory passage to an old control room. Not like the classes. They couldn't get the classes classic control room, but I loved it because, I mean, it was the same control room, but it was, like, different because the walls were, like, illuminated green and everything. It just looked so mysterious. And, I mean, it was the same set, but it just had a different look because the lights didn't light up like they did in the original show. They just looked green. It was a different look to it, but it was the same set, just different look. It looked amazing.
I mean, there was that one, and the episode where, I forget which doctor. I think it might have been 12.
Well, which companion?
It was either 11 or 12, where those other junk salvagers, the three African American brother characters.
Oh yeah, you mean, that's 11. That's 11. Journey to the center of the TARDIS.
When they took the ship in, they were going to rip it up for scrap, but they couldn't, and so they have to go in there with 11, and then they have to find what's her name again?
Clara?
Yeah, Clara.
She's actually my favorite 11th Doctor companion. Not just because she's so hot, and cute and adorable, but
Clara?
Clara.
Oh, you get that.
She's my favorite companion. She's so adorable and cute and hot and everything.
You have a crush. Do I need to talk to your girlfriend about that?
What? Hey, a guy can have a TV show crush, can he?
Yeah.
I have a lot of celebrity crushes in IMDb. You can't get me wrong about that. You gotta have celebrity crushes eventually.
Yeah, speaking of John Brown, personally, I don't swing homosexual. That's not my thing.
Yeah.
But he is the one guy that I would ever go gay for. He is awesome. He is really fucking awesome.
That guy is so awesome.
That's the only person I would ever even sit that with.
That's
because he's awesome.
My sister actually has his autograph.
Yeah, she was telling me about that one.
Yeah.
I was visiting your place last time.
Yeah. But
awesome.
he's a great actor. He's actually the first American character to appear on Doctor Who. Before heading the Torchwood. And I think the one doctor that I really wish they had signed up for another series, because it's British, so they call it series, was the 9th Doctor. Because it only lasted one series, and it was a 8-month film, 8-month of filming. It was permanently exhausting, but I love 9. He wasn't as good as the newer ones, but just the same. I love 9. He's a great character. He has a great accent. I love the character. He is basic costume, but I don't know. It's really weird because like all the doctors that I see, I don't know why, but I love the fact that they're numbered because I see them and I just I look at them and I'm like, that looks like a 1, or that looks like a 2, or for example the 6th Doctor, Colin Baker, the colored one, the one with all the colors, he looks like 6. I don't know what is with the doctors, but they all look kind of like their numbers, don't they? I don't know what it is, but they kind of resemble their numbers.
My all-time favorite Doctor is 9, because that's the first one I started with.
Yeah.
And actually my favorite episode ever, and this is the first one I ever saw, was the episode with the Dalek in the basement.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, with number 9.
Yeah.
Where they went through that museum and all that. Remember that one?
Yeah, that was just called Dalek.
That was the first episode I had ever seen of Doctor Who. Because I had heard a bunch of people around school talk like, oh, Doctor Who is so amazing, remember that?
Yeah.
And I literally told them, that sounds dumb, man. That just sounds like a waste of time.
Yeah, so like for me, I didn't even know what Doctor Who was. I thought it was just a show about some person named Doctor Who was in like a sitcom. It was really weird. Actually, I found out because the first kind of funny thing that the 9th Doctor says in Rose, the first episode of the reboot, was he says, when Rose questions him about why do you sound like you come from the north, and he's like, all the planets have a north. Actually, that's a reference to one of Chris Eccleston's early shows, Our Friends from the North. I actually listened to a Doctor Who podcast on that, and the person who was doing the podcast talked about the fact that that's where that thing came from. It was our friends from the north. That's where he says lots of planets have a north. That was I didn't even know that. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's where it came from.
It makes sense.
It does. I mean, he has a great line. His catch is fantastic, and that's a great line. Actually, there's one moment of the Ninth Doctor's era that I just loved, and it's so heartbreaking, and that's his final words before he's regenerating, and he's like, no, it was what? Have you seen that one?
I don't want to go.
No, it was Ninth Doctor. It was. I just wanted to tell you you were fantastic.
Fantastic. You were fantastic.
I just wanted to tell you.
So was
yeah, so was I. That was so sad. It's like
with
with
the Ninth Doctor at the time, and this is kind of going into personal life.
Yeah.
At the time that I watched Doctor Who, and I finally watched the first series, I was going through some really tough times.
Yeah.
Things were starting to get tense at home, and it's a lot of personal crap I don't want to go into.
Yeah.
And Nine was one of those characters that really helped me through a lot because of how happy this man was, even though all the bullshit he goes through. And this is why I keep watching Doctor Who, and arguably part of the reason why I like Nine so much. And that last line, it was like, you know what, that's how I want to live my life. Yeah, sorry.
I mean, the one thing that I was so touching about Nine's regeneration was because he's. I mean, I've memorized the entire script of the thing where he's talking about going out to see Barcelona and that it would be, and then like you can come too, but not like this. And he's like, you're not making sense. I'm gonna make sense again. And he's like. But it's a bit dodgy, this whole process. You never know what you're gonna end up with. And then he gets the pain, and he's like, I mean, he has to tell Rose that he's dying, and still hold onto the pain, because she doesn't understand because Rose is the first companion. This is the first new take on Doctor Who since 1989. So, well, 1986 too, but. Because she doesn't even know what regeneration is, and he has to like explain to her just to understand it while he's still holding back. Because he has to hold back the radiation or the stuff that he's dying from.
Time vortex.
Yeah, the time vortex. So it's just like it feels like oh my gosh, she has to. It's like it must be really tough for Nine to explain this to her when she's never even experienced regeneration before. While he has to hold it back, and he's like, Rose, I gotta explain this to you, and she's trying to like say, don't do that, and he's like, before I go, I want to tell you that like, oh my gosh, that's just so sad. I mean, it's the first time we ever see him regenerate, but even then, it's like, wow, some great lines.
Yeah, Nine, like I said, he's my favorite Doctor for many reasons. He was my first Doctor that I ever watched.
Mine too.
He helped me through really difficult times, and the Doctor Who universe itself, it's one of those. It's a great show, but it also helps a lot of people. A lot of people that I know that are fans of the show go through a lot of really shitty situations at their home.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I've gone through some tough stuff. I mean, theirs is like escalated tenfold, and a lot of people love these shows because they connect. And that's part of the reason why this has such a large fan base all across the world. I mean,
yeah.
And that's why I think that this is the perfect formula. It not only can you have a regenerating character, but he always has to connect with the audience, and that's a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because it can always be revitalized. It's a curse though because one, it can always be revitalized. Two, you need to have a decent actor play it.
Yeah.
They had done actually a few movies and stuff with different actors as well. Remember Star Wars? episode 4?
Yeah.
Remember the guy who played Grand Moff Tarkin?
Yeah, Peter Cushing. He
played the Doctor in one of those.
Yeah, it was in one of the movies, the Doctor Who movies. It was Dr.WHO Who movie. Kind of weird. Yeah, I mean, I never saw that. I saw like a clip of it. That was just one of those really weird movies. It was not what I expected.
I haven't seen the movies, really.
I never saw them. I saw like a clip of it. It was completely different from what you expect Doctor Who to be. Way different. The TARDIS doesn't look. I mean, well, it's the same idea as the police box, but it doesn't look anything like it does in the show, especially the interior. Like at all. It doesn't even have a console in it, or a view screen, or anything. It doesn't look anything like the TARDIS like in the show. And that's why. I mean, I haven't seen it, but I've seen a clip or two of it. It just looks terrible. I mean, that's just my opinion.
I've never seen it, so I can't judge.
I saw a clip of it, and it just looked terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like, for example, regeneration, which is a big part of Doctor Who, and that's what I look forward to seeing at the end of every Doctor's era. In the original show, each regeneration was either in the TARDIS or outside the TARDIS. Every Doctor was always regenerated on the floor or on the ground. And it wasn't until the new series where they actually had them stand up and regenerate and had like energy coming from their hands and head, and it was pretty cool actually. But in the old show, I mean, the effects were minimum, so they couldn't do a whole lot because of what the budget they had. But I noticed that, I mean, every regeneration in the old show, it was all from sitting down, lying down, and the effect it was just like a bright light or kind of like a little effect going on the face. I mean, especially for the Sixth Doctor regeneration scene. Do you know about that one?
About which one?
So for the Sixth Doctor, because Colin Baker, who played the sixth incarnation of a Doctor, he was fired from the BBC before his basically he was fired before he was actually finished playing the Doctor, but they did one last episode, and so he didn't actually get to take part in the regeneration sequence. So they had the predecessor, Sylvester McCoy, who played the Seventh Doctor. They got him in a wig, a blonde wig, which was the hairstyle that the Sixth Doctor had, and the Doctor's costume, and he just filmed it by himself, facing down, so it looked like the Sixth Doctor. So that was all Sylvester McCoy. I mean, they make it look like Colin Baker because of the wig and everything, but it was all Sylvester McCoy because Colin Baker was fired from the BBC. I mean, he didn't come back until the 30th anniversary special from 1983, but he wasn't there, so Sylvester McCoy had to film it all himself, and the secrets were, I mean, they obviously had to take the wig off so you can see him, but film the entire thing by himself. Well, obviously not by himself, but like he was the only one in the room to film it. So,
wow. I
mean, it just goes to show you that something like that can happen, where an actor will get fired, and they have to figure out how they're going to do it. I mean, that's the only time they've ever done it without the predecessor, for the successor. I meant successor. Yeah, successor. To film it instead of because all the other actors have done it. But the one regeneration I did not like, and I haven't actually seen the episode. I've seen the regeneration because it's been on YouTube and stuff. But there's only one regeneration I actually didn't like, and that's the Fourth Doctor regenerating into the Fifth Doctor. That was one I hated because it was him. It was this actually, like I said before, I haven't seen the episode, the serial, but I saw the sequence. It was basically this figure called the Watcher, and he basically how that worked was he basically fused with the Fourth Doctor, and then he got like this white makeup on, and then blinked a bunch, and then the effects went in, so he looked, and then Peter Davison, he plays the Fifth Doctor, came in, and there you go, he's the Fifth Doctor now. But that was the one where I hated it because it just looked like too much. Like, really, you need to have a character, just some white figure fused with the Doctor in order for him to regenerate. What the hell? That's not a way to regenerate. You don't regenerate with help from this mysterious character. I mean, that's never happened before. You don't have the Doctor fused with another person. That's just never happened.
I don't know.
I mean, it happened, but I don't like it because all the other regenerations have just been like it's weird effect, and then boom, they're no doctor. But like this is the only one where they've actually fused another thing. I mean, that's the only one. But I mean, my favorite Doctor from the classics is Tom Baker, plays the Fourth Doctor, and why is because his costume is so awesome. It's that scarf, and that's the signature costume. I mean, I haven't obviously seen all the classics, but from what I've seen, I'm up to the Fourth Doctor now, and he's such a brilliant character. He really is. So I'm on the Sergeant. I'm on the Sergeant. Companion. I'm on where with traveling with Sarah Jane. And that is just that arc that the Doctor I'm on right now. He's a brilliant Doctor. Tom Baker. He actually started. He's actually. I think he's no. Yeah. He's 40 years old when he started Doctor Who.
Wow.
Yeah, which is pretty incredible. But I mean, also what's really really interesting is I mean I do a lot of Doctor Who research, but one of the things I didn't even know was that so for the 1983 episode, The Five Doctors, which was the 20th anniversary special, they asked Tom Baker to return to the role of the Fourth Doctor, but he refused. I don't know why, but he refused, and so they had to make up for it. They had previously filmed a serial called Shadow with him, but they didn't finish filming it, so they just got what they had and they put it in the serial, and that's what he had. So for the photo shoots, because that's what you do for like a big event, like an anniversary, they get a photo shoot together. So for the photo shoot, they had all the cast. You got Richard Hurdle, because William Hartnell had died, so he couldn't take part in the special. They got Richard Hurdle, who was basically a somewhat of a lookalike for William Hartnell, and they got and then that's the only stand-in. Everyone else was there except Tom Baker, and so they got basically this is getting creepy. So they got I actually looked up on the images, and it was just it just makes me cringe. So it's basically a wax dummy of Tom Baker as the Fourth Doctor in the photo shoot, and they're like standing him up. He just looks like he just looks so creepy. I mean, I get it. You can't have Tom Baker in there because he says no, but like that wax dummy in the photo shoot. What were they thinking? That's disturbing. I mean, I guess it works because that's the only way you can do it. You can do it like, it's like Doctor Who's 20th anniversary. It's all the Doctors, and like, oh my gosh, Tom Baker, he's come back, and then it's like, okay, that's weird. It looks like he looks real, but it's just a dummy. It's like, but anyway, that's just one of the specials that they kind of weird with it. And then the 30th anniversary was the only time. So there's actually, if you don't know about this, there's a character in the classic series. I don't know. I've been going on about this because I watch a lot of the classics. I mean, obviously I don't watch all of them because most of them are gone. But what I have seen, there's a character called the Brigadier, and this is actually a character that is actually mentioned in the new series, in the 11th Doctor's era and the 12th Doctor's era. The Brigadier, full name is Brigadier Gordon Niles Lester Stewart. He's one of the generals that aids the Third Doctor and the Fourth Doctor in his ventures, or at least while he's on Earth. And because the Brigadier never actually met the Sixth Doctor, in the 30th anniversary special Dimensions in Time, that was the only time that he met the Sixth Doctor. I'm about to mention it was the only time that you're going to see Tom Baker back as the Sixth Doctor because he was fired. But that's the only time that you actually see the Brigadier interact with the Sixth Doctor. Because, of course, Douglas Courtney wasn't on Doctor forever. But that was, I mean, I love the Brigadier. He's a fantastic character. Brennan, if you get the chance to, you should check out the Third and Fourth Doctor era, because that is a really good era. Because the Brigadier is a great character.
Alright.
But, I mean, obviously, you can't all watch the classics because the BBC destroyed everything. Well, no, not everything, but most of them. But, I mean, that's the classics. The new stuff, I'm loving because it's a great series. So what is your favorite series in the new series?
Favorite what?
Favorite series?
Favorite series?
Yeah, which series? From which Doctor? Or just which series? Like series 1 through 8 or 9 or whatever.
My favorite. I don't know the different series. I just know the different seasons.
Well, series 1 had 9. Series 2 through 4 had 10. Series 5 through 7 had 11, and series 8 and on has 12.
As I said, I love the first one. However, I gotta say the one that was most entertaining was 2 through 4.
Yeah.
With David Tennant. I think that one was definitely more entertaining to watch, like as an everyday thing than the stuff with Christopher Eccleston. However, it's not my favorite.
The one series that I did not like. I mean, overall it was a good series, but it's the way they formatted it. So series 7 was the only series in the 11th Doctor era that they split into 2 parts. So it was actually the first one where they put a Christmas special right back there in the middle of it. So they had the first 5 episodes starting in September of 2012, and then they had the Christmas special introducing new stuff like new TARDIS and everything, and then they had the rest of the 8 episodes. In the second half, I think it was in March 2013. That was the worst format ever. I hated that format because it's like, because you have this whole thing where you have only 5 episodes with Rory, and then you have the Christmas special, which is never done before, because usually how it goes is you have a series or / season, and then you have a special, and then you have a new series. But this is the first time where they had a 5 episodes, and they had a Christmas special right smack dab in the middle of it. That's never happened before. I mean, that had never happened before. That's why Series 7 is one of my least favorite series. I mean, it is good because you have the Pawns, quote that, their last series together. But I just didn't like it just because of the format. I mean, I don't like it when they split seasons, and it's the only season where they actually majorly split it because because you only get 5 episodes in 12 and 12, and then you have a special. I just didn't like the format. Because you're not used to it. You're used to having a series and then a special and then a series. But this is the first time where they're like, okay, we're having this many episodes, and they're like, oh, okay, that's weird. You gotta put a special right in the middle. You don't do that. You don't put a special right in the middle of a season. That isn't how it works. But nevertheless, I mean, it wasn't a bad series. Series 7 wasn't a bad series. I didn't like it as much. But I think my favorite series from the 11th Doctor era was Series 6 because it had my favorite episode, and that's the Doctor's wife. When the 11th Doctor first meets the TARDIS as a woman. And it's actually a great quote from that episode where Amy and Rory discover the Idris, or the TARDIS, and the Doctor's like, she's a TARDIS, but she's a woman. She's a TARDIS, but she's a woman. And then Amy's like, you just wish really hard. That was a great line.
Yeah, I loved it when they said that. So what should I call you? Well, when you call us not in public.
Yeah.
And they're just like, okay, sexy.
That was great. I mean, I love Doctor's Wife. That was my favorite. That's actually my favorite episode of the 11th Doctor area, period. Just because of, not just because they brought back the Tenant TARDIS, but because it was the first time you actually see 11th Doctor interact with the TARDIS, because that had never happened before. You never saw the TARDIS like as a whole. You just see it as a machine. But this is the first time you actually see the Doctor interact with the TARDIS as a female, like because she refers to her as female, and this is the first time you actually see that happen. I mean, the character herself is amazing because you see the TARDIS soul come out of the TARDIS, and that's just the first time you've ever seen it happen. Because you really see the relationship between the Doctor and the TARDIS for the first time, because previously you never saw that happen before. It was the first time you actually saw it happen because it never happened before. I mean, yeah, you never saw it happen. It was just the heart of the TARDIS. That was kind of the only thing that was really referenced was the heart of the TARDIS. But the Doctor's wife was the first time you actually see him interact with the TARDIS for actual as a relationship, because that never actually happened. And that's why I love that episode, because it had so much dynamic. Not just also because it was written by Neil Gaiman, who is a great writer. That was a great episode because Neil Gaiman wrote it. And for those of you who don't know, Neil Gaiman wrote one of my favorite movies, or favorite books was actually made into a movie called Coraline. And I'm actually planning on doing a review in that pretty soon. I think I might do it for my 1-year anniversary of reviewed. I don't know yet. But that being said, The Doctor's Wife is a great episode. What do you think?
I didn't know that guy had Coraline. I haven't seen Coraline.
It's a great movie. You should see it. It's a really dark movie. I'll when I come to that episode I reviewed, you should see it. It's really, really good. But there was actually a whole thing where Neil Gaiman was actually in the TARDIS set, and he actually read the I think the script or something, or the narration of The Doctor's Wife, and oh my gosh, it was incredible. Because the way he told the story of that episode was crazy awesome. I mean, I love Neil Gaiman's work. He did a great job with that episode. That's why The Doctor's Wife is my favorite episode, because Neil Gaiman wrote it. I mean, because obviously Neil Gaiman's awesome. And the only thing I've seen Neil Gaiman do is Coraline, which is by far my favorite movie. If you don't know already, Coraline is my favorite movie, considering I have it and I've watched it over a dozen times. I mean, that's a movie I'll see over and over and over again. I mean, actually, I am obsessed with that movie so much that I will watch it over and over again, and I wouldn't get tired of it. Like, I mean, it's like what's the thing that you have an obsession with that you just watch over and over again? Oh wait, is that Transformers or something like that? Brennan?
For what?
Transformers? Wasn't that Transformers that you would watch over and over again?
A series I'd watch over and over again? Oh god, do you want a book? Oh god, there are way too many. Probably the one that I would say the absolute most that I have seen over and over again is Sword Art Online.
Oh yes, I watched that. Yes.
That's the first and second seasons. The best one is most certainly Season 1, Arc 1.
Yes.
Arc 2, it's rather weak, and it's got some really disturbing scenes in it that I don't like as a fan of the series. I hate it. I forget the guy's name, the main villain of that series. Oh my god, he's a...
he's one of those, it's a really long name, actually.
What?
It's a really long name. I can't remember it.
Yeah.
But going back to Doctor Who.
The Fury King.
Yeah.
Then the second arc was Gun Gale. That one was brilliant. Oh,
that was awesome.
The fourth arc was crap. I have only watched it once before. I'm not watching it again.
Yep. But yeah, with Doctor Who, I mean, it's one of my favorite shows ever, and I love how they brought it back to life. It just took forever to come back to life, and I love, currently they're filming Series 10 now, and they have a new companion, called, Bill. I imagine that's short for Billy. But she's played by Pearl Mackie, and she's the new companion. And also there's a character that was in, the recent Christmas special called, Husbands of Every Song, and he's, Matt Lucas. He played, Nordal in the Christmas special, and is actually coming back for Series 10. But I'm looking forward to Series 10. Unfortunately, we have to wait until 2017, next year, to see it. But, I mean, what I really am disappointed about is the fact that we have to wait an entire year because this never actually happened before. This has never actually happened in Doctor Who before, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I think there might have been a thing with between the Sixth Doctor's era and the Seventh Doctor, but I could be wrong. But this is the first time they've actually had a whole year from Doctor Who for a Doctor ever. But I just don't. I don't like it because I love Doctor Who. I don't like missing it. I don't like waiting for forever. However, there's one thing about Doctor Who that I do not appreciate, and that is when they'll explain changes. So like they explain changes for like could be the TARDIS or the Doctor's clothes or anything. When they don't explain a change, I hate it.
You know, I honestly, and I'm saying this as a friend, but
yeah.
This is also as a guy that hasn't had cable in years. Get used to it.
Yep.
So, you know what I do?
Yeah.
Because up until this whole thing with Netflix taking it down, I had to do the same thing. I did this for a couple years, where I just watched the next season when it finally came out. But Walking Dead is another one. I'm a huge fan of that show. That's another show that I would just watch over and over and over and over, and I do.
Yeah.
So what I do every single year, because what they do is they release it on the day that the new season comes out. They release the old season on their Netflix. So I'm literally 1 year behind.
Yep.
So what I do every single year, the day they release that, I start from episode 1, watch all the way through. I just binge and then watch that other one, but have everything else under my belt again.
Yep.
And so that, as a guy that has to do that with some shows, I honestly could say that it works to the advantage.
Yep.
There's one character in it. Why is her name escaping me? It's getting late. Sorry.
Yeah. Probably should have to stop this anyway.
Hang on. So Beth, when she died, it was a huge shock to the Walking Dead fan base. Like a huge, oh my god! And I had to avoid every single news outlet, but I saw months in advance. Beth's death. Oh my god! How she died? Is she back? What happened? And I was avoiding all that stuff. But me being a fan of the show, I still saw it. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So when I was watching the TV show, I was waiting on, and then like there were a couple moments where, should we die? Is this it? This is it? No, it doesn't. Is this? No, it's not. Then finally and I was just sitting back, and then finally when her character does die, I'm like, it still hit me.
Yeah.
I was still shocked as if I had watched it live. I mean, even though I knew it was coming. And that works to the advantage and disadvantage. Disadvantage because you know it's coming, but if they do it right, the producers will make damn sure that whatever spoiler comes out, that the audience are still going to be surprised every time that they watch it. I'm still surprised at a lot of jump scares in movies. I will watch AVP over and over, or Aliens, the second Alien movie. I'll watch it over and over and over, and I always jump at the same spots.
I mean, the one thing that I think everyone was very, very sad about was when the Doctor in Doctor Who, when he lost Rose for the first time. That was the saddest episode of Doctor Who, in my opinion, by far. Because it was just so sad. I mean, it was called Doomsday for a reason because it was the end of Rose, or at least for a while. But it was so sad because Rose, like, she loved him. She genuinely loved him. Like, there was a real bond between the Doctor and Rose. And when she knew that she was gonna like be locked away in the parallel universe forever, she just felt so sad. And like, especially when she finally tracked him down to Babel's Bay, and the Doctor was talking to her. He's like, I'm blowing your entire sun just to say goodbye or something like that. That was actually quite funny. It's like, oh my gosh, you destroyed your entire sun just to talk to her. Yeah.
So you know how I mentioned that I got my mom to be a Whovian?
Yeah.
That was the first episode she ever saw.
Wow.
And so what we did from that episode on, because I had already seen series before.
Yeah.
I started watching that one, and she started watching with me. And then she's like at the end of that, can we watch the next one together? Okay, watch the next one. And the next. And the next. And the next. And the next. And it kept going on and on and on and on and on. And then finally we get to the end. And so we go all the way back to the original, number 9, and watch from then on. Then we get to that episode again. She's like, one more round? Okay. So I watch the rest until we get to the end again. And we go back.
Yeah.
And we watch and watch and watch and watch. Then Netflix.
Yep. But that scene where the doctor is saying goodbye, and he's like, and Rose is like, am I ever gonna see you again? And he's like, you can't. And she's like, I love you, and he's like, quite right too. And then the saddest moment ever is when the connection gets cut out. It's like if there's one thing last thing has to say it, goes Tyler, and then he says, it's like everyone knows that he was going to say I love you back. That was the saddest moment of Doctor Who by far, because he was never going to see her again, at least until like late series 4. But like that was just so sad. I mean, it still makes me just feel awful because I saw the behind the scenes of filming an episode, and you have they're all crying, and then you have David Tennant sitting in a car, just looking so gloomy, just like so sad, because like they had just filmed one of the saddest scenes in the series by far, at least in my opinion. Besides Regeneration, so don't really count. But it was so sad. I mean, that's just one of those sad scenes that it makes me cry. I mean, it's not maybe not cry, but like kind of weep, like oh, that kind of thing.
So, I don't know if it was on set or something like that, but it was when they were about to film that scene, and he knew as I was coming, and he was actually sitting down on the sidewalk, and, I forget what it was about. I think it was about that scene or something like that, and Billie Piper, she came over to him and was talking and stuff like that, and she read to him like some letter or something like that, and he broke down crying even more. But
that's also, especially when it comes down to, if there's a scene in the script where you have to cry, there's always a way to make it so you have to actually cry.
There was another movie that I was actually watching today, Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen the movie before?
Actually, I have, yeah.
That movie, it's one of those movies, it gets you. It really does.
Yeah.
I watched that, and I still was crying at the end, like tears rolling down. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
But like I said, a good movie will always get you.
Oh yeah.
The show will always get you.
I mean, there's some sad moments in Doctor Who, like 11 Months Regeneration. That was a very sad episode. I like 10's better, but even then, so they have some sad moments.
Oh, yeah. Well, hey, it's getting late for both of us.
So, yeah, I think that'll do it for this week's episode. Thank you for listening, and I hope you liked it.
Before I go, though, so FYI to the audience, I'm not going to be back for a while. I'm going to be going out of town for about 3 weeks now, so I won't be on quite a few podcasts. I'll be going to visit my dad, then coming back for a day and a half, then leaving over to Washington, D.C.
Yep.
Checking out the Smithsonian and all that stuff for 2 weeks. So I'll be back in about 3 or so weeks, and hopefully I'll be able to join you guys again.
All right, and then also, you have we did a cross-channel video that filmed.
Ultimate Spy 53, or Tom, he and I did 2 reviews. One that was on his channel, was Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and then we did another one for my channel. What was it again?
Jumper?
Yeah, Jumper. Then we did the review Jumper on my channel. But I just got back from another trip for about 2 weeks or so.
Yeah.
So I haven't had time to upload this stuff. So I'll be uploading in a day or two. And again, with this stuff up before I leave. But yeah, that stuff will be out very soon. And yeah, I hope to talk to you guys all again. But yeah, bigdinoguy here.
Anyway, thank you for listening to this episode. If you liked it, then please give it a like and subscribe to my channel and subscribe to bigdinoguy channel. We both appreciate it. And I'll do it. Anyway, so yeah, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.